your healer. This is his word. I am the God that healeth thee. I am the Lord, your healer. And I sent my word, and I healed your disease. I am the Lord, your healer. You sent your word, and you healed my disease. You are the Lord, my healer. Yes, you are.
A pleasant good afternoon to all of you who have joined us on the radio. I want to thank you all for your company and those who have joined us on the internet. We really appreciate your company with us this afternoon. We want to apologize for the late start. I know that there were persons who were just, waiting so that they could be a part of this program. And I want to thank you. So very much for waiting so that you could be a part of this program this afternoon. What I would like to do with you this afternoon is to share some easy and quick household remedies with you. I want to share some quick household remedies with you. Remedies, things that are around the house that you can use, and herbs that are around the house that you can use to effect some real good remedies, home remedies for different types of illnesses. And when these illnesses affect us, sometimes we run to the doctor to see if we can get some sort of a home relief. I want to share those remedies with you this afternoon. But before we go into it, I would just like you to bow your heads with me as we invite God's presence to take over this program this afternoon. Let us bow our heads as we pray. Our Father which art in heaven, we thank you for your blessings. We thank you for being a part of this program this afternoon. We pray and hope that your Holy Spirit will give us a type of guidance that we need so that we are able to share this important information with your people. We pray that as we share this information, persons will understand how important it is that we give you the honor and praise that is due to your holy name. Thank you for your blessings and thank you for your guidance. Through Jesus Christ, our Lord, we pray. Amen. All right, my friends, we thank you so very much for joining us. And before we get into the meat of the matter, just like you to know that the information contained in this presentation is informative in nature and not intended to serve as diagnosis, treatment, prevention, or cure for any specific health condition of our listeners or viewers. We give no guarantee of, nor assume any liability for any outcome of the use of this information. Here on Nature's Way, we share because we care. We share because we care. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 31 says, whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. That is really the remedy for good health. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 31, whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. And that's not only all. God in 3 John 3 says, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. 3 John 3 says, beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. Genesis 3 and verse 18 tells us that God added to the diet that he gave to man in Genesis 1 and verse 29. In Genesis 1 and verse 29, God told us to eat as our diet fruits, nuts, and grains. And when Adam and Eve sinned, God gave them more information in Genesis 3, verse 18. Vegetables were added to man's diet. The herbs of the field were added because man would get sick. And so sin would cause us to be sick both physically and spiritually. So God ensured that we had something that could cure disease. So he gave us Genesis 3 and verse 18. And also Psalm 104 and verse 14 says, the herbs of the field are for the service of mankind. The herbs of the field are for the service of mankind. So every herb that you see in the field, all of them are herbs that God has given to us for the use for medical purposes only. Some of them, because we don't know how to use them, we keep far from them because we see some of them as being, poisonous. And so we keep far from those ones that we are told that are poisonous and those that we don't understand so very well as yet. We keep very, very far from them. Revelation 22 and verse 2 says, the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nation. And so God has allowed mankind to have a type of diet. The food that man should eat are only foods that, give us good health. That is what God has given to us, foods that give us good health, fruits, nuts, and grains. And in Genesis 3:18, vegetables, you notice that anytime man gets sick, anytime you get sick, we run back to Genesis 3:18, the herbs of the field, and Psalm 104 verse 14, and Revelation 22 verse 2. And we mix those herbs with sometimes with a little bit of hydrotherapy. Hydrotherapy means that we use water to effect healing. We use the water therapy to effect healing. And some time ago, I heard an interesting story on, hydrotherapy. And it goes like this. There was a gentleman who was locked up in prison, a doctor who was locked up in prison. And all the inmates knew that this was a doctor that was there locked up. And so when he was locked up, they took away all of his medicines, his needles, everything, his medical bag. They took that away and they just locked him up, threw him in prison. But because the prisoners knew he was a doctor, they went to him all the time. You have a headache, you go to the doctor because you believe the doctor would tell you, what is happening to you and so on. And so when they came to him, he didn't have any of his medications and so on to heal them in the prison. And he developed something that he could use to heal them. He used water to heal his patients. And so sometimes when persons came to him and they had a headache, depending on the type of headache the person had, after doing his assessment, he would say to them that, you should drink water and this will help you to get rid of your headache. Or sometimes they had high blood pressure and he would warm some water and tell them to put their feet or their foot in the warm water, and he would add something cool or at room temperature to their foreheads, and that this would bring down the blood pressure and so on. So there are various type of ways that he used water to effect healing. And so he found an ingenious way that he could still work while he was in prison. And so what we find is some of those remedies that the gentleman I used. I just beg your pardon a while ago. I just, went to do some adjustments just now. Beg pardon for that. Yes. And so some of those same remedies that he used while they're in prison and developed on them and perfected them caused prisoners to get better. And so we're going to be touching on some of those. And we are also going to be touching on some other things too that we can use. Some everyday herbs that you see lying around the house that we can use for high blood pressure or high blood pressure, hypertension, and there are some of them that we can use for diabetes, sugar, either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. There are some of them that we can use when we get a cut and so on. And there are also some that we can use whenever we have a type of cut that is hard to get better. Sometimes you have diabetes, and so the cut is a little bit harder to get, look harder to get better because of the diabetes that you are affected with. So we are going to look at some of these things this afternoon. I'm going to be sharing some information with you, and then Debbie may possibly come later on and take over some of the things that I am discuss that just take over the program a little bit later on. But I just want to discuss some of these things with you and look at how we can impact our own lives and how we can save money instead of going to the doctor. So sometimes, when I was young, when I was much younger, whenever I went on, when school had holidays, I went on holidays with my grandmother, and any type of illness I had, didn't matter the type of illness. My grandmother would use home remedies to get rid of it. I remember one time I fell off my grandfather's donkey, and I was badly hurt. And she would go outside and get some herbs and put on me so that I could be healed. Sometimes I had a headache. Sometimes I had a belly ache. All different type of illnesses. And she would go and get some home remedies. And in no time, I would be better and could be able to go about my normal duties as if nothing had happened. And so these are some of the remedies that I want to share with you this afternoon. All right, the first couple of them that we're going to be looking at has to do with inflammation in your body. Inflammation in your body. Many times we have some sort of inflammation affecting us at various places in our bodies, and so we don't really know how to deal with this level of inflammation. You have an inflammation in your body when your body is affected by something, either internally or externally, and your body is fighting it. And so sometimes when your body is fighting it, you might end up with a swollen area, swollen ankle, a swollen hand, or something, or an insect may bite you or may sting you, and you have a swelling. Now, the swelling that you have on your body is known as inflammation. It is when your body is trying to get rid of the external matter that has entered it. And so sometimes you have some things that come into your body, and your body was structured in a way that it works to get rid of those things. Sometimes your nose is stuffy, and you wonder, why is it that I can't breathe the way that I used to breathe? Why is it that my foot is swollen? Why is it that my eyes are blurred? Why is it that all of these things happening to me? And so you want to know what to do, some of the things that you should do to get rid of it. All right. The best thing, some of the best home remedies that you can use to get rid of inflammation are things that are so simple around the house. You may have ginger and turmeric mixed together. Either you're going to use it internally or externally. Ginger and turmeric are two very, very good things for inflammation. And so sometimes you may have your foot may be swollen, and you want to know how to get rid of the swelling that is on your foot. You can apply ginger and turmeric And what you would do is to mix it with a little bit of either olive oil or coconut oil and apply it to the area. When you apply it to the area, it will cause the swelling to go down. Depending on what causes swelling in the first place, however, if it is inflammation, it we cause the swelling to go down, and so you can apply it topically or externally to the area, and it apply cause it to go down. Sometimes there are other times that you might have to drink the ginger and turmeric, because sometimes the type of inflammation is something that is happening from within, and so you drink the ginger and the turmeric to get rid of certain type of inflammation. But before you drink the ginger or the turmeric, it is important for you to know what is happening to your body that would cause you to want to drink it. And it is important also to know other things that are in your body. For example, if you have a high blood pressure, I would limit the amount of ginger that you consume, because ginger has a tendency to bring down your high blood pressure so that your pressure will come down very, very low. So once you are using ginger, if you drink ginger, some people love to drink ginger tea and so on. So if you're drinking anything gingery and so on, you have to remember that ginger would cause your high blood pressure to come down. But ginger and turmeric is also, as I said, good for any type of inflammation. Ginger and turmeric also cause your blood to flow through your body properly. That is, sometimes you might have an obstruction in the way that the blood is flowing through your body. Ginger and turmeric helps your body to cause the blood to flow through your arteries and flow through your veins very, very easily. Because sometimes there might be an obstruction. There might be things that are causing the blood not to flow properly, and so ginger and turmeric does this. Also, if you combine ginger, turmeric, cayenne pepper. Now, this is a combination that it does so well to your body, but you have to know how to apply it, because sometimes when you apply it, you cannot apply it directly to your skin topically. You cannot apply it directly to your skin topically, because sometimes it will cause an irritation to your skin. Because once you now begin to put the ginger and the cayenne pepper and the turmeric, what you'll find is that it may be too heavy for your skin to handle on the outside. And so you might have to put a thin piece of cloth and then you put it on it and then you tie it onto the area that is swollen. And so somebody might give you a little cocoa and, like, might fling a stone and hit you in the head and you have a little cocoa. Or you might hit your foot on something. Say you're walking through the house and you hit your foot somewhere and it is swollen. You can put ginger, garlic, ginger, turmeric, and the cayenne pepper together. Mix them with a little bit of either coconut oil or olive oil and apply it to the area, and it will cause the swelling to go down. All right, so that's a simple remedy that you can use for swelling and inflammation. Since I'm on the subject of ginger and turmeric and cayenne pepper, I must also let you know that cayenne pepper is a magnificent herb that you should always have in your home. Most supermarkets and pharmacies sell cayenne pepper. And so once you go in a supermarket and you go to where the seasonings are, then you most likely will see cayenne pepper. Always have cayenne pepper at home, because cayenne pepper is useful in solving a number of problems that we as human beings may develop from time to time. For example, if you have a high blood pressure, one of the fastest things to get your blood pressure down is cayenne pepper and turmeric. Cayenne pepper and turmeric. What cayenne pepper does is that if there is an obstruction, does the similar work to what the ginger does, but it moves a little bit faster. If there's an obstruction in your blood, like there's a blood clot that causes the blood not to be flowing properly or smoothly and so on, you may drink some cayenne pepper and some turmeric. And what the cayenne pepper does is that it breaks up the clot or breaks up whatever is hindering the flow of blood. And the turmeric will cause the blood to flow through your veins or through your arteries easily. Once there are any obstructions in the flow of blood in your family, it is not in your body. It is something that should be treated seriously because, as you know, your arteries, they carry the blood with the oxygen throughout your entire body. And so you need that. And also the flow of blood through your veins are so also very important. And so you do not need any type of obstruction to take place where that is concerned. For cayenne pepper, it can be used for a number of things. If you get if you get a cut, for example, a cut, no matter how big or small the cut is, and it is bleeding or it causes you to be uncomfortable, one of the first things that you can do is to apply cayenne pepper to the cut. Now, some persons will say, "Whoa, cayenne pepper to a cut, this will burn." But if you have a cut, you are already in pain. What the cayenne pepper will do is that it will just give you a little bit of sting. It will sting you. But when it stings, it doesn't continue to burn you all the time. It stings and then it disappears. But what it does effectively is that it stops the flowing of blood from a cut. So once you get a cut, you put some cayenne pepper on it and then the blood stops flow almost immediately. That is what cayenne pepper does. And it causes the cut to heal quickly as well. All right. So once you put the cayenne pepper on the cut, it stops the flow of blood and it causes the blood, that cut to heal quickly. And it does something else. It causes the area to be a little bit numb. And so the pain that you were feeling before, you wouldn't feel that pain so much again because the cayenne pepper numbs the area, it causes the blood to stop flow, and it causes healing to take place. And so once the blood is flowing on the outside, you're bleeding up the place and so on, the cayenne pepper will help where that is concerned. And so cayenne pepper is a useful thing to have around the home because it is useful for other things as well. One of the other things that cayenne pepper is noted for is that ulcer stomach. There are some persons who have ulcer stomach, and ulcer stomach is where there is a raw area, a cut or a sore in your stomach, and it is very uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable. Well, if you have cayenne pepper, you can drink about a little bit less than a quarter spoon to about 6 ounces of water. Mix it out in 6 ounces of water, and you drink that, and you drink it on a daily basis at the same time every day. As soon as you drink it, you eat maybe about like a few minutes after. Don't stay very long, or you can eat first and then you drink the cayenne pepper. And what you'll find is that that raw area in your stomach will begin to heal almost immediately. And you're going to say, "Man, I've been spending a lot of money at the doctor getting rid of this ulcer stomach." And here it is that cayenne pepper heals it so very well. And while we are on the topic of ulcer stomach, I should also tell you that there is something else that is excellent, provides a good coating on your stomach for ulcers, and this is known as arrowroot. In Jamaica and in the Caribbean, many persons used to drink arrowroots. I think it might be introduced to Jamaica by the Tainos, or when I was going to school, the Tainos were known as Arawaks. So I think this might have been introduced to Jamaica by them. But it grows prolifically all over Jamaica. And so the method of using the arrowroot is that you would, you grate it or you put it in the blender, blend it up, and then you squeeze out the juice, and then you let it settle. When it settles, the starch will move to the bottom. And so what you do is to throw away the water that is on top of it, and just keep the starch. And you put the starch in the sun and let it dry. Put it in the sun and cause it to dry. When it dries properly, you use a spoon and break it up. Use one tablespoonful of that, 1 tablespoonful of that to 8 ounces of water, and you drink that, and it will cause your ulcer stomach to disappear. And this one works like a magic. And you would only need to take one. You wouldn't need to take a lot. You only need to take one of it, and almost immediately you will find that your ulcer stomach disappears. All right, so let me repeat: arrowroot. Just go in the bushes, get some of the arrowroot. Either you blend it up or you grate it. If you grate it, you juice it. You blend it up, you still squeeze it out. And when it squeeze out, you squeeze it out to something, and you let it settle. When it settles, you throw away the water that is on top of it, and so you only have the starch remaining. When you have the starch remaining, you put it in the sun, let it dry, and you just get a tablespoon and mix out that tablespoon in about 8 ounces of water, and you drink it. And this is a very effective method to get rid of ulcer stomach. And this is one of those remedies that you would really want to have, because so many persons nowadays suffer from this thing that is known as ulcer stomach. You have it because sometimes you don't eat at times, you don't eat at the regular time, or there are other problems that you have in your body that will cause you to have this ulcer stomach. And so that is a good remedy. But before, I should also tell you that it is best to not to cause the problem to happen than to find a remedy for it. So even though the arrowroot works well in getting rid of ulcer stomach, you should try to avoid getting ulcer stomach in the first place. And so what you do is that you try to have 2 meals per day, like one at a set time in the morning, either 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and maybe between 5 to 6 hours after you have your other meal. So if you do it at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, and so by 1, 2 o'clock you have your other meal for the evening. And so it would give the first meal time to digest. Sometimes we eat so quickly that we don't give the first meal that we had time to digest. We eat something else, or we eat between meals, and so on. This is one of the sure methods that you would end up with something like ulcer stomach. So it is not only the fact that you don't eat, or you don't eat on time, the regular times that you normally eat. It is also that we eat too often, and we cause our stomach to be overworking. And so sometimes we have what is known as ulcer stomach because we do this. So it is best to have regular times that we eat and try to space the time between 5 to 6 hours between the times that you had your first meal and your second meal, so that you would give your food adequate time to digest. All right. And make sure that when you eat your meals on a daily basis, that you eat those meals that constitute a balanced diet. What do we mean by balanced diet? It means that you have adequate protein, adequate carbohydrate, vitamins and minerals and so on in your food when you go to eat, because your body needs it so that it can function properly. All right. And so that is how we eat. But sometimes there are proteins in some things that we don't even think that proteins are in, and I should quickly say that you don't need animal flesh to get protein in your body. Animal flesh is not the best protein, and it is not good for you. It takes very, very long for your body to digest it. You realize how our teeth are shaped. They're not shaped in such a way so that we can tear meat and so on. Our teeth are mostly for like chewing and so on. And so instead of the animal protein, chicken and beef and fish and all these kind of things, these kind of foods that come from animals, you try to eat the natural protein, because that is what gives you the protein. The protein is absorbed in your body quickly, turns to amino acid, and so it can begin the healing process quicker and easily, because our bodies need protein on a daily basis. We need it so that healing can be effected in our bodies. Um, and it is not only that we get protein from these nuts and grains that we eat in our meals on a daily basis. We also get, magnesium and other type of minerals that our body so need. Magnesium is one of those things that if you eat it on a daily basis from foods, you get it from the foods, then you find that it would be difficult for you to have such a thing as hypertension, because many times it is a lack of magnesium in your body that causes you to have hypertension. So it is not like what the doctors tell you. Sometimes doctors tell you too much salt. It is not the too much salt, or it is not that you consume too much salt on a daily basis at the meals and so on. Yes, it is important that you not consume a lot of salt, but it is not the salt, because think of this: when you're ill, when you get ill and you go to the doctor, even if it is a high blood pressure, you have a stroke, or no matter what it is, and you go to the doctor, the first thing they're going to give you is saline that is made up of salt and water. So it can't be that. And so we were on the part where we were discussing about ulcer stomach and how we can heal ulcer stomach with cayenne pepper, and how we can heal it with arrowroot. And we also looked at inflammation in our bodies and the type of home remedies that we can use to apply to our body so that we can get our bodies well. And we spoke of ginger and turmeric, also cayenne pepper in the mix of it, that we can use to get rid of inflammation. And you would need something to bind it as well. And what you would need to bind it is like an oil. And so you would need like a coconut oil or olive oil that you can use to kind of bind it so that it can stick to the area that you want it to stick to. All right. And so that's some basically quick and easy home remedy that you can use. Now, last week we were looking at poisons in our bodies. And I just want to reiterate that one of the best remedies, in my estimation, I know it is not a good word to use, but I would say it is one of the bestest things that you can use, is to use a charcoal. Charcoal gets rid of all types of poisons in our body. And so you should always have cayenne pepper, you should always have ginger, you should always have turmeric, and you should always have charcoal at home. Cayenne pepper, ginger, turmeric, cayenne pepper, and charcoal. Make sure that you always have charcoal at home. You use charcoal to get rid of poisons in your body. And so what you do is that you crush it, strain it, mix it, and drink it. And what it does is that if you eat something and you are swollen or the bumps come up on you, it will disappear quickly. Or if you are poisoned, the charcoal gets rid of the poison in your body very, very fast. And so always ensure that you have charcoal at home. And one of the things I does with charcoal is that I use the activated charcoal in my water, because charcoal, whenever I have any water, like I catch a bottle of water and I'm putting it up for storage, I always put charcoal in the water, because charcoal pulls out the poison that is in the water. And because it pulls out the poison that is in the water, I am now able to drink it freely, and it will be good water for my body. And sometimes when you have these things that filters water, and you happen to pull it up. I was very rude when I was growing up, when I was young, and I used to pull those things. I used to wonder what charcoal is doing in it. And so they put charcoal in things when they want to purify water. Your fish tank, and you are filtering the water. Charcoal is in it. Charcoal is an excellent thing that you use to filter water. And even river stones or sea stones, the one you get from out of the sea and out of the river, those the little stones, you put it with the charcoal and it filters the water very well. But I always use charcoal. Always use charcoal whenever I can to get rid of the the poison that is in the water, and it gets rid of poison that is in your body, and it does it quickly. I am allergic. My allergies are way up there, and I always have to ensure that I have charcoal at home. And sometimes when I'm on the road, going anywhere, and sometimes I might buy something on the road, and sometimes they might have ripening agencies, like on the bananas and the plantains and so on, and I touch it and it causes my hands to be swollen, or I inadvertently eat it and my mouth is swollen and my body is swollen. I always have to have charcoal because it helps to get rid of my allergies and get rid of poisons that are in my body. And so charcoal is one of those things that you should always have in your medicine cabinet or have it at home so that you can have easy access to it and use it easily. I want to give a shout out to all of my church brothers and sisters at Blessed Hope. Blessed Hope is having today a day of fasting and prayer. They're having a day of fasting and prayer. So I want to give a big shout out to them because today they are having that session. It was a wonderful session, very wonderful session. I am just coming from there. And so I want you to continue to pray for them and to ensure, just to give them a little bit of encouragement so that they can continue to do these things. All right. And so, Blessed Hope, thank you for today. Thank you for a wonderful time that I had with you today, so that I was able to reconnect with God, and it was really just a wonderful time that I had with with Blessed Hope today. Our fasting and the prayer session. At this fasting and prayer session, we looked at some of the things that were happening in Jamaica today, and we realized that all of the prophecies, all of the prophecies in the Bible are fulfilling, and it is happening in quick succession. And so we have to arm ourselves with this information as we go on our missionary duties around the world, or around Jamaica world. And so we normally go from parish to parish and from town to town, and we share God's words with God's people. So when we share God's word with God's people, we were today at fasting and prayer, so we receive more information that we can give to the people of Jamaica, so they too can understand the times in which we are living and the importance of worshiping our Heavenly Father in spirit and in truth. All right, and so we looked at inflammation, we looked at poisons, we look at how blood flows through our body and the methods that we can use to cause the blood to flow properly, and the various uses of cayenne pepper, either internally or externally, the various uses of sugar, of ginger and turmeric, how we can use it internally and externally for inflammation, to get rid of inflammation. And so we can now begin to look at some other things that we can also use to get rid of problems that we have from time to time. So let us discuss something like hypertension, high blood pressure. Um, Jamaica, many persons in Jamaica are troubled with something now that is called high blood pressure or hypertension. Almost every second Jamaican that you speak to, they have high blood pressure, and they want to get rid of this high blood pressure, but they are unable to do so. Um, Many times the reason we have this high blood pressure is because of we are indulging practices that we should not be indulging ourselves in, that will cause our bodies to develop high blood pressure. And so once we move off the diet that God has given to us, fruits, nuts, grains, vegetables, once we move off of those, then all types of illnesses will come to us. And so, the first thing, the very, very first thing to cure high blood pressure, I would encourage people to go back to the original diet that God has given to us as human beings. When we go back to the original diet, then we will be in a better position, a very good position where our high blood pressure can be healed. And so, in giving you some of the remedies now, let me begin by telling you about um, some herbs that are around the home that you can use to get rid of this high blood pressure that so many of us have, and it is dangerous. High blood pressure is so very, very important to get rid of, because if we don't, then we find ourselves in a position where we may develop stroke, or we may develop, other illnesses relating to that. Your feet are swollen. You have heart problems. So it's not only that your feet are swollen, your heart is swollen. The muscles get a little bit bigger. Your heart is enlarged, and you find that you breathe heavily, or you are unable to do regular things that you would normally do because your blood pressure is high. So, one of the first things that I would encourage you to do is to ensure that you drink water. All right. So, you drink water. Um, and the way in which you drink water is very, very important. So, the first method that I'm going to tell you is the proper way to drink water. So, the proper way to drink water. And so, what you first thing is that we should know how much water we need to drink on a daily basis to keep our bodies hydrated. How much water we need to drink on a daily basis to keep our bodies hydrated. All right. When you go to the doctors will normally tell you to drink 7 or 8 glasses, 8 ounce glasses of water per day, and they tell this to everybody. While I don't discount the 7 or 8 glasses of water per day, because at least you're drinking some water, but a fat person and a slim person, you wouldn't tell both of them to drink the 8 ounce of water. If you tell a slim person, you can't tell a fat person, because that fat person would probably need more water than what the slim person would need. All right. And so one of the first things you do is that you would take your body weight, whatever your body weight is, take your body weight. And so suppose if your body weight is, say, 150, say you weigh 150 pounds, 150, you divide that 150 by 16. Divide that 150 by 16. And so somebody who weighs 150, after divided by 16, you get 9.37, or call it 9.4. And so 9, you would need to drink at least 9 cups of water per day. At least 9 cups of water per day. Sounds a lot. If somebody say is 175 and you divide that by 16, you need to drink 11 cups of water per day. And it sounds a lot, doesn't it? It sounds a real lot. Say, who is going to sit down and say one, two, three, and some person will say like, can I drink all of it at the same time and so on? So who is it that would drink? Ensure that you drink 11 8-ounce cup of water per day or 9 cups of water per day and so on. But there is an easy method to do it. Very easy method to drink the water, because drinking water is so very, very important for the hydration of your body. So before I tell you the method that you could use, an easy method, let me first of all tell you that drinking water is very, very important. Our brains are made up of over 90, over, yeah, almost 90% water. 90%, imagine this, 90% water our brains are made up of. And so if you don't drink water properly, you find that you won't have good brain function. Also, the organs in our bodies and our entire bodies are made up of approximately 80% water. Approximately 80% water. And so you see why you need to drink water, because all the organs in our bodies function properly when we are properly hydrated. Our skin will look prettier and shiny and just silky, just look nice and silky when you drink the right amount of water. Your hair will grow, your body function. You won't have the pains in the knee that you normally have. Your fingers won't feel as if you can't curl them up. You won't have so much pain and so on, because your joints would be properly lubricated. Your organs in your body would be properly would have the proper amounts of water, and so they will be able to function at maximum functionality all the time when you drink the right amount of water. So how do you drink this water? First thing is that you just put it in your mouth, just put a mouthful in your mouth, swish it around as if you're chewing it, and then you swallow it. Put a mouthful in your mouth, swish it around as if you're chewing it, and then you swallow. And every time your mouth feels dry, you put it in, swish it around, and then swallow. What you'll find is that about 10 minutes, between 5 to 10 minutes, your mouth is going to be dry. And you put it in, swish it around, and swallow it. And so you find if every 10 minutes you just take a mouthful of water, swish it around, and then swallow it, you find that you drink more than the amount of water that you need. But you have to be cautious and ensure that you drink the right amount of water that you need on a daily basis so that you can be properly hydrated. Did you know that when you feel thirst, it takes about 3 days for you to catch up back when you are drinking the right amount of water? Once you feel thirst, it takes about 3 days to catch up back. Because when you feel thirst, it means that your body is crying out for help. And so you should not feel thirst any at all. All right. Once you drink water, the way that I just described to you, put it in the mouth, swish it around, and then swallow it. Your body will be hydrated at all times. So think of it. It is not just the fact. It is not just the fact that your brains will be receiving the right amount of water that it requires. It is not just the fact that the organs in your body would be receiving the right amount of water that you needed. It is not only the fact that your skin will feel better, but it is the fact that your entire body will be able to function at maximum capacity when you are drinking water. You find that many diseases that you'll have, headaches and flu and the common cold and many of these things that you would normally have, you don't have them when you drink the right amount of water on a daily basis. And it is advisable that you drink as close as possible to spring water. All right, don't drink the chlorinated water, or the waters that have things added to them. Just drink the natural spring water. If you still go to the spring and catch water, just put some charcoal in it so the charcoal can pull out the poison that is in the water, and then you can have that nice, cool, refreshing water on a daily basis. And always keep your water at room temperature. Keep your water at all times at room temperature. If it is not at room temperature, your body will have to convert it to room temperature in order to use it. Because if when you drink hot, your body cannot use hot. When you drink cold, your body cannot use cold. Cold. Your body can only use the thing that is at room temperature. All right, because it has to be close to your body temperature, and so your body will use it better and easier that way. Whenever your body has to do some sort of conversion, there's something else that happens in your body that cause a reaction. And so some persons might develop cancers, some type of cancers or tumors and so on, because your body will now have to do some conversion to use this liquid. And so something else happened in your body, a hormone. Nobody gives off a certain type of hormone when you do this, and it might not be easy on your body. All right, so ensure you drink the water at room temperature all the time. And if you catch it at the spring, put a little bit of charcoal in it so that you can pull out the poison that is in it. If the only water you have is the water that comes out of the pipe, when you catch it, put charcoal in it. So those men who sell coal, the men who burn coal at bush, just get some coal from them. If they use fresh dirt to burn the coal, it would even be better. Get that dirt and use it. Um, get that charcoal and use it. Because what the charcoal does is that it will suck up all of the nutrients from out of the dirt, and all of that nutrient will be in the charcoal, and your body will thank you for it. Because guess what? The Bible tells us that we were once dust, we were once dirt, and God made us. And so I don't know if you ever noticed that all of the nutrients that are in the dust, in the dirt, are also in our bodies. And so this is why charcoal is so very good to our bodies. All right. So that's the first thing to alleviate high blood pressure. Ensure that you drink the right amount of water. Drink the right amount of water. Take your body weight, divide that number by 16, and that will tell you how many 8 ounce cups you would need to drink. And don't worry about the amount. Just put some water in your mouth and swish it around, and then you swallow. And when you do that, you find that you will be able to drink that amount of water, and you don't even realize that you have drunken so much water. That is the first thing. And that by itself will cause your blood pressure, your high blood pressure, to go down. All right. And so it is very, very good to use that method to cause your blood pressure to go down. The other thing that you could do to cause your blood pressure to go down is you could use the hydrotherapy method. There are two ways you can do it. Two ways you can do it. All right. You can put your feet in some room or cold water, as cold as you can put it. Get a basin, put cold water, put your feet, and then you can put some of the warm water on it. Put the warm water on a rag and put it on your forehead. Or you can put your foot in the hot water and the cold water on your forehead, and that will cause your blood pressure to go down. All right. So that is the hydrotherapy part. Now let me tell you about some herbs that you can also use. Some herbs. Now there are many herbs that are very effective in causing your blood pressure to go down or to normalize. Many herbs. So aside from drinking water and aside from using hydrotherapy, everybody knows this herb that is called broomweed. It blooms a yellow flower. Broomweed. When we were very young, our mother or grandmother would tell us to go and look some broom weed. And couldn't. Broom now is prolific. Everywhere you can go shop and just get a broom. Once upon a time, you either have to use broom weed or you'd have to use the thing that fall off of the coconut tree and use that to sweep your yard. All right, but nowadays you use broom. But the broom weed has a yellow flower. So you get a bunch of broomweed, a handful of broomweed. So you look some with the roots and so on, wash it properly, wash the root properly, wash the plant properly, and you wash it first in salt water and then you use fresh water to rinse it off. And then you would add only two things to it. Add about 3 cloves of garlic. So you crush the 3 cloves of garlic with the skin. So you don't take off the skin, just crush 3 cloves of garlic. And you would also use ginger in it. So garlic and ginger with the broomweed. And you allow it to boil like for about 15 minutes and so on. And you can consume that when it is cool. And I guarantee um, that unless something else is wrong with you, that your blood pressure will go down very, very quickly. All right, so that is broomweed, garlic, and ginger. Just these 3 things. And the broomweed, garlic, and ginger you have at home already because you buy these. You normally buy these when you go to the market. And the broomweed is outside. Just look outside of your yard. You'll find the broomweed. More than likely it is in the yard. Has a yellow flower blossom on it. You'd know it because sometimes it's hard to root up, very, very hard to root up. And you can boil these 3 things and drink it after it is cool. Drink it, and then it will cause your blood pressure to go down. But you have to monitor when you're doing these things. You monitor your blood pressure because you don't want your blood pressure to drop too low. All right, you don't want it to drop too low, and so you ensure that proper monitoring takes place of your blood pressure because you don't want your blood pressure to go down too low. Also, for your blood pressure, you can use the hibiscus blossom. Hibiscus, some people call it shoe block. Hibiscus, that red hibiscus blossom. The red hibiscus blossom is so versatile. And let me tell you the various ways that you can use it now. When you pick the hibiscus flowers, you can eat it raw. It actually does not taste bad. All right, you can eat it raw. You just make sure you wash it off carefully. You can eat it raw, and it will cause your blood pressure to go down. Or you can put them in a container, get a nice handful, and get a cup of water and hot water, and throw the hot water on it and cover it up and just give it a few minutes to draw. In Jamaica, we call it draw. And the proper word for it is steeping. And you cause it to steep. And when it is cool, you put it through a sieve, you strain it off, and the water would normally be red. Now that is the water that you would drink, and it works very well in lowering your blood pressure as well. All right, so it lowers your blood pressure as well. And so you notice that in the first instance, we told you about cayenne pepper does the same job of lowering your blood pressure. So we told you about the cayenne pepper, we told you about water, we told you about the broom weed with the garlic and the ginger, and we also tell you about the hibiscus blossom that can also be used. So we have actually given you 6 things. There are more, but I don't want to, bombard you with so many things at the same time. So I'm just giving you these things that you can use to get rid of high blood pressure. Now, there are going to be a spin-off that you will find when you are drinking these things. You're going to find that you don't get flu very often. You don't have flu because all of this vitamin C is coming in your body, and your body will thank you for the amount of vitamin C that it is getting, and you find that you won't have flu and sniffles and all of these things because your body would really and truly be fighting. All right, and so This is some of the ways that you get rid of the high blood pressure. Another drastic way that you can use this, now this is drastic, and I would only advise you to use this with proper monitoring. All right, you must have a blood pressure machine where you check your blood pressure, and you have to do three readings, and it is not three readings one behind the other. You do one reading, you wait about 5 minutes, and you do it again, and you wait another five, and do it again, and you write them down, and you look at the average, because you have to ensure that you have the average read to know what your real blood pressure reading is. All right, you look at the consistency of your blood pressure. One reading don't work. You have to do at least three to get to know what your blood pressure reading is. All right, this other thing that I'm telling you about that you have to monitor carefully is coconut water, potassium. You know, the coconut water, and you squeeze lime in it. Coconut water, you squeeze lime in it. Now, coconut water and lime cause your blood pressure to go down rapidly, rapidly, and so you would have to be monitored carefully, before and after, so that you don't find yourself in problems. All right, you have to be monitored very carefully, because uh, coconut water with lime cause it to go down drastically. Also, ginger cause your blood pressure to go down rapidly as well. Sometimes, if you your blood pressure spike, you might not have cayenne, but you have ginger. You just put some ginger in the mouth, chew it. It kind of bothers your throat, but if you chew it and you swallow the juice, just chew it slowly, swallow the juice slowly, so that it won't have that impact, and you find that your blood pressure will just go back down to normal. All right, and so these are things that you can do for your high blood pressure. And let me go back through them again, so that if you didn't get it the first time, you can get it this time. You can drink water, the right amount of water, and drink it the proper way. The right amount of water the proper way. Cayenne pepper is excellent for high blood pressure. Ginger is excellent for high blood pressure. And you can boil this concoction now with broomweed, ginger, and garlic. These three things you put together and boil these. And um, you boil them, and then when it is cool, you drink it. Also, hibiscus blossom. Hibiscus blossom. You drink hibiscus blossom. You put it in a container, throw a cup of hot water on it, and let it steep. When it is cool, you drink it, and it will greatly help with your high blood pressure. So, if you have high blood pressure, more than likely one of those methods that I have just told you will work. All right. If this one don't work, then try another one, or try another one, or try the other. All right. One of these methods will work, because we realize that sometimes you have to do multiple approaches, because all of our body types are different, and no two persons body type are the same. And so you do them because sometimes your body type is a little bit different. And so what suits you might not suit me or suit somebody else. And so this is why I've given you the different methods. All right. The coconut water and the lime, though, you have to be very careful with that one, because your blood pressure will fall too low. You don't want your blood pressure to go down too low, because when it goes down too low, then you are going to block out. You may even have a stroke. And so we don't want that to happen. So this is why we say that it has to be properly monitored. You have to ensure that when you do it carefully, and you have a blood pressure machine at home where you can check your blood pressure to see where it is at, and on a daily basis, so that you can properly monitor it. Because the reason we're telling you this about the high blood pressure is that some for some persons, because the blood vessels in your brain to burst, and you may have a stroke, a bleeding stroke. You may have bleeding in your brain, and you have a stroke, or it can just cause your arteries, the blood not to flow so well to your arteries. And once there is a blockage, you either have a heart attack or you have a stroke. And so it is important to monitor your blood pressure carefully, so that you are not in a position to cause yourself to have a stroke, either in your brain, where your brain is bleeding, or your heart, to have a heart attack. All right, so you have to monitor it very carefully. It is important to know the status of your blood pressure on a daily basis so that you can know what is happening to you, so that you can monitor it. Um, Another method I should give you now is that you could drink at room at a little bit below, a little bit warm, not hot but warm water, like 8 ounces of warm water to like half. You could cut a lemon in half and use and squeeze half in a cup of that warm water in the mornings, and you drink that. Now, ideally, you should be drinking 2 cups, 16 ounces. All right, but you just start with 8 ounces and then until you reach the ideal 16 ounces. You drink that every morning, every morning, and if you are fat, it will also cause you to be slim. And when you drink it every morning, it will help you to monitor higher high blood pressure if you have it as well. And it will also cause you to want to drink water right throughout the day. All right, so that is a method. Or if you have no lime, you can just drink the water. And once you squeeze the lime juice in the water, you are making the water alkaline. And when you drink alkaline water in the morning, disease cannot dwell in an alkaline body. So once your body is alkaline, then it is difficult for disease to be striving in the body. Disease like cancer, diabetes, and so on. But you have to monitor this carefully because you need acid in your body as well. For example, your stomach needs acid. And so you have to ensure how much alkaline your body is. This is why I say you don't squeeze an entire lemon or lime. You squeeze like half in the water and then you drink this on a daily basis. If you have no water, if you have no lime or lemon to put in the water and you have coconut, you can just pour some coconut in the water. Just put a piece of the coconut in the water and overnight, just let it stay there overnight, and the next day you drink it. The coconut in the water will cause the water also to be alkaline, and you can drink that too if you really need to drink that alkaline water. And so what we have done in this first section is to show you how you can use these natural remedies, not only to cause blood to flow through your body properly, not only to ease you of inflammation, and not and but we have also told you that you can monitor your blood pressure, your hypertension, and so that you won't have a brain bleed or a stroke, or you won't have heart attack. But once you have high blood pressure, it's very uncomfortable. All right, and so we have just told you about this, and you can use this on a daily basis, but ensure that you have your high blood pressure machine where you can check your body. Always ensure that you check to see where your blood pressure is at before you continue, or you get advice from your physician. All right, always ensure that you test your blood pressure. When you test your blood pressure, you don't just test it once, you test it 3 times. You do it every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes. You will test it. You test it 3 times, and then you look at the average reading or the mean reading. Sometimes 2 will be the same or 2 will be close, so you know that this is the average place where my blood pressure is. And so that is what you would use to ensure that you are okay with your blood pressure. All right. And so that would take care of that blood pressure. Now, what other types of illnesses do you have that sometimes you have to rush to the doctor? So it is not only with the flow of blood to your body or inflammation or high blood pressure. Sometimes you have diabetes, either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, some persons say it is easier to cure than the type 1 diabetes. Some persons shy away from it. But for both of them, you can cure it, because what we are looking at is cure. For high blood pressure, some persons, the doctor will tell that you cannot cure it, but you have to bring it under control. What I have just told you, I've told you about are the cures, the cures for high blood pressure, and and the cure for inflammation, and the cure for allowing the blood to flow properly through your veins. We are looking at cures, what we can do to cure it. Um, the first thing that you do when you have the diabetes, the very, very first thing, once you go to the doctor and the doctor tells you that you have diabetes, the very first thing is to ensure, like high blood pressure, where we deal with the types of food that you eat. When you have diabetes, you have to ensure that you are eating properly. Ensure that you are eating properly. And so there are certain things that you have to cut out of your diet, either hypertension or diabetes, to cut certain things out of your diet. Now, the diet for somebody that has hypertension and somebody that have diabetes is a little bit different. It's a little bit different. But how different is it? This part is not very far. For persons who have hypertension, you can eat the diabetic diet. But the persons who have diabetes, you have to do some modification to the person who have high blood pressure diet before you can participate. All right. For diabetes, you would want to ensure that your diet is colorful, very colorful, and it is natural foods that you are going to have in it. So no animal flesh should be in your plate when you have diabetes. There should be no animal flesh in your plate. All right. It should only be those things that you grow. That you grow. You can go to the farmer's market and purchase the organic things. All right. So nothing that once had an eye, whether it is fish, whether it is beef, whether it is chicken, and so on, you have to get these out of your diet. And you have to ensure that you consume a plant-based diet. So the very, very first thing you do is to ensure that you have a plant-based diet, but your plate must be extremely colorful. Your plate must be extremely colorful. And so you don't have a plate that has one color predominantly in it. And so what you do is that foods you would love to get in your plate are foods like, the first one is a sweet potato. Sweet potato. Ensure that you have sweet potato, carrots, pumpkin, a little bit, not a big piece of cocoa, and things that grow under the soil. You can eat a little bit of those things as well. A little piece of banana, but you ensure that you have like sweet potato and pumpkin and carrot and those things that are colorful. Also, eat a lot of green leafy vegetables, a lot of green leafy vegetables, and a lot of peas and beans, grains, nuts, fruits. Ensure that you consume a lot of these, but you have to be careful. Don't overdo it. All right. Ensure that you don't overdo it. And the reason I think you notice that normally they will tell you not to eat a lot of fruits, and here I am telling you to eat fruit, because fruit, when you eat fruit, not a lot of it though, but when you eat fruit, especially the ones that are sweet, you find that the sugar that is in the fruit is in a simple state, and your body will love you for eating simple sugar. Don't eat complex sugar. Feeds things, feeds illnesses. And I will tell you the most dangerous illness that complex sugar, sucrose, feeds when you drink it. Now, there are these bottled drinks that you drink. I will tell you about those short. Like, you should stay far, far away from these, because these will just cause you to be more, to get more sickly, and will cause whatever illness you have not to get better very quickly. All right. So fruits, you can't eat fruits, because what you want when you have diabetes is that your pancreas is not producing sufficient insulin. And so sugar, your sugar, carbohydrates must be broken down to simple sugar, and the insulin is what does this in your body. And so your pancreas is not producing insulin, and so you want your pancreas to be able to work again. All right, you want all of your body parts functioning the way that it used to function when you were young, you were a baby. You want all of these things to be functioning again. You do not want to bypass any body part. All right? You do not want to render your liver obsolete or your pancreas obsolete. You want to do things to stimulate them to be able to function again. Um, when you go to the doctor, they give you metformin or whatever type of pills they give you for diabetes. And what these pills does is that it bypasses your major organs and it renders them obsolete, and they will not function in the way that they were supposed to function. And so it is the medication that is not working as the insulin and so on. And so you don't want that to happen. You want to ensure that whatever it is that God made you with, that you are able to restore it, make sure that it can work again. And so the medication, you're going to not follow the medication. You are going to do the natural remedies. And so one of the very first things, once you have diabetes, I'm going to give you a concoction now that you can do for diabetes, and it works very well. But you should ensure that you don't smoke and you don't consume alcohol. Don't smoke, don't consume alcohol, and your eating pattern has to be very strict. You have to be very disciplined with your eating pattern. All right. What I mean by very disciplined, there are some persons who say that because they have diabetes, they have to be eating regularly. But remember, when you eat regularly, you are not giving your stomach enough time to digest the first set of foods that you have eaten, and then you put some more in it. And so you are compounding the problems that you have. You eat so that the food that you eat can be converted, proteins to amino acid, carbohydrates to simple sugars, and so on, so that your bodies can use them up. But when you eat too often, then by the time your stomach is working on this, you put something else in your stomach, have to be working, stomach have to be working, stomach working and working. And even when you sleep, your stomach working. And then some of the food don't get digested properly. And so they begin to ferment in your stomach. And when fermentation begins, sometimes you find that when you stand up, you can't even walk good, you walk like a drunken man. But this is because the food that you have eaten has fermented. And sometimes when you eat fruits and vegetables, the fruits digest first, the vegetables digest after, and you eat again, and so you don't give your body enough time. And so we always say don't eat fruits and vegetables together. If it's vegetable, you eat vegetables. Your fruit, you eat fruits, because you want the food that you eat to be able to be digested properly. All right, you want it to be able to be digested properly. Um, and don't complicate things for your body. All right, never ever complicate things for your body. Now, in the restoration of your pancreas, so that you can now produce insulin, this is what you would need. This is the type of concoction that you would need to make. You remember the same hibiscus blossoms, those red blossoms that I told you about? You would need to get now, instead of one handful, you need to get about 2 handful of those. All right, two big handful, like a man's handful. Those, put that in a bag, and then you would need to get some cinnamon stick. So it is the hibiscus, some cinnamon stick, about 2 cinnamon sticks. You can get those to buy in the supermarket, or also the cinnamon sticks. If it is a cinnamon sticks that has the leaves on it, then the proportion would be that you need to get about a little bit less than a handful, just a little bit less than a handful to use. But the sticks are very strong. All right, so this is what I tell about the stick. And then you'll also need to get some clove. You may maybe need about 10 cloves. So 2 sticks, 10 cloves, and the hibiscus blossom. And you put all of these, you get a pot of water with 2 cups of water, and you put the cinnamon and the clove in it to boil for about 3 minutes, and then you put the hibiscus in the water, and as soon as you put the hibiscus in, you cover the pot and turn it off and let all of that steep until it is cool. When it is cool, you will begin the process of drinking. Now, the amount that you drink is about 6 ounces at a time. You drink 6 ounces at a time. When you drink this, the first thing you're going to notice is that you're not so dizzy anymore, and you find that your body is feeling a little bit different because your pancreas now, when um we call juke start a car when you push it. You are juke starting your pancreas, and so your sometimes your pancreas has been out of use for so long, and then you have to do this over a period of time. And so you will consume this drink for about, in the first instance, for about like 14 days. Just keep drinking this for about 14 days. So you do enough for like about 3 days, and you do another 3 days, and you do another 3 days, and another 3 days. And you would drink it morning, at noon, and in the evening. Mornings, at noon, and in the evening. You drink it, and you monitor your sugar at the same time. And so some persons also have a sugar machine. You stick your finger, and you monitor your sugar. Now you have to monitor it because you want to ensure that you don't overdo it, all right? If you find that your sugar is now leveling off, your sugar level is leveling off, your pancreas is again functioning, what you do is that you probably drink it once per day, or you probably drink it every other day, or you probably drink it 2 or 3 times a week. You understand? Once you find that your body is no working. But you notice that in every instant, if you have high blood pressure, have a high blood pressure machine. If you have sugar, get the sugar tester so that you can test your sugar level at all times. And your diet, ensure that you are consuming the proper diet that I told you about. Your plate should always be colorful, and you eat about 5 hours apart. So if you eat in the morning at, say in the morning you eat at uh, 8 o'clock or 8:30, make sure that you count 5 hours after they have your second meal. All right, you eat. So you're giving your body enough time for the food to be properly digested, and you're also developing a system where your body is used to you eating at a certain time. And so once your body is used to that system, you keep it up, and so that your body can continue the process of recuperation. All right. And so this is one of the remedies that you use for high blood pressure. But there's also another remedy that you can use for not for high blood pressure, for diabetes. There's another remedy that you can use for diabetes. You can also go the route of um, cleansing your liver and cleansing your blood. You can cleanse your liver. Once you are doing a blood cleanser or a liver cleanser, liver, blood, kidney, you can cleanse those, because these are the things that you would need to have clean so that your blood sugar can work, can come back to normal, and you can stimulate your pancreas in the same breath. And so, what type of herbs are you going to need now to put together? You're going to need to put like a handful of a herb called seed underleaf, or it is known as stone crusher. Your liver will love you for it, because this is a liver food. And remember, the pancreas is connected to your liver. All right. So you're going to need about a handful of seed underleaf. You're going to also need a herb that is known as shepherd's purse. You're going to need like a handful of shepherd's purse. All right. Remember, what we are doing now is that I'm telling you about the cleanser, how to cleanse your blood and to cleanse it properly. We're not talking about those things that you see many times pop up on the internet. I'm telling you about something that is permanent, something that is good, something that can help you where your liver is concerned and your pancreas to get them back working. So you're going to need seed and the leaf, about a handful of seed and the leaf, about a handful of shepherd's purse. You're going to need neem. You're going to need about like a little bit less than a handful of neem leaves, and that can be found almost anywhere in Jamaica. So all of these are Jamaican herbs I'm telling you about now. So seed and the leaf, shepherd's purse, neem, and you're also going to need aloe vera. Aloe vera. The aloe vera in this instance will work similar to a stabilizer, but it can't stabilize too well either. And so you're pasteurizing it, so you're going to be boiling it. All right. Now you're going to cut up all of these and put them in a pot. And once it goes in the pot, you just need an amount of water that would just equal to the amount of herbs that you have in the pot. And you're going to boil these for about 20 minutes. Boil them for about 20 minutes, put it to cool, and you can bottle it and you can drink it for about 5 days. If you put it in the refrigerator, you have to take it out of the refrigerator when you're going to use it so that it can come back to room temperature, because you only put those things in your body that are at room temperature. You don't want your body to start to produce crazy hormones that your body don't know what to do with these hormones that it is creating it, and so you might have developed cancer and so on. So what I've just told you is a blood cleanser, and once you take this blood cleanser also for about 14 days, you're going to find that your diabetes is going to come back to normal. All right. So I've not given you two remedies that can bring your diabetes. One of them must work. If the first one don't work on you, then you try the second one. All right. One of these must work. Also remember that you need to drink water, because your body needs water. What you drink in between meals is water. And so you don't take a snack. You drink water in between meals so that your body can be properly hydrated. All right? Because your body must at all times be properly hydrated so that it can function at full capacity. You always need to have your body functioning at full capacity. And so I've just told you about the blood, liver, and kidney cleanser. And so what you need, let me repeat the things that you need to make this. You would need seed and the leaf, you would need shepherd's purse, you would need neem, and you would also need aloe vera. There are some other things that you could use, but I don't want to complicate it so much for you. So these four things. Seed and the leaf, shepherd's purse, neem, and aloe vera. You could use these four things and make a very, very good blood cleanser. When it is your liver that will be thrown into action so that your blood can be cleansed, and in the process your kidney will also be cleansed. You know that there are some spin-off from this. As I told you before, sometimes when you're taking one set of medication, herbal medication, you find that there are spin-off that comes as a result. For example, if you have kidney stones or liver stone or gallstones, you find that all of these you will get rid of these and you didn't even know. You'll just not feel the pain anymore. You'll get rid of it because the seed and the leaf is also known as stone crusher. Stone crusher, get rid of any type of stone in your body, whether it is in your kidney, it is in your liver or your gallbladder. Anywhere the stone is found, it will get rid of it. All right. And once you're going through the process of cleansing your blood, then that will be a part of the process of getting rid of it. And so you can use. So the first thing I told you was the cinnamon, the clove, and the hibiscus, and you use that for diabetes, and you also use the one as well where you you do the blood cleanser that I just told you about, which is the seed and the leaf, the shepherd's purse, the neem, and the aloe vera. There is another method, another set of herbs that I can tell you. But this is not so much herbs. It is fruits and vegetables that you're going to combine. Um, you can use, like, the cucumber. You can use cucumber, and you can also use either lime or lemon. Cucumber, lime, or lemon, and you would also use the Jamaican Otaiti apple. All right, our Jamaican apple. So you need one of those, and depending on the size, you need maybe one or two, and you need some lime, like a half a lime, to squeeze in. But the half a lime, you're going to just cut it up and boil it just like that. And so it's the lime, the cucumber, and the lime, the cucumber, and the otai, the apple. All right. And so if you're going to boil it, you can chop it up and boil it, but you don't have to boil it. You can blend it. All right. So blend the cucumber and the Jamaican otaiti apple together, and then you squeeze like half a lime in it, and you try to drink this first thing in the morning on an empty stomach every day for 7 days. Every day for 7 days, and then you watch to see how your body functions. All right. And so everything you do, you have to do a little bit of monitoring, to find out how your body will react to these things. All right. So I've just given you 3 things that you can do. 3 things for diabetes. One of them with your body type must work. All right. And this is why I've given you 3. And so you can begin the process now of healing. But in every instance, I must repeat this now, in every instance, before you take any one of these herbal remedies, invite God's presence in your midst, and tell God that it is Him you are depending on and not the herbs. Because even though God made the herbs for the purpose of healing, it is God that effects the healing in your body. All right. So in every instance, you pray to God and just submit yourself to Him and ask Him to help you so that the healing process can take place. We depend on God Himself for healing. For as Acts chapter 17 tells us, He upholds all things by His great power, and He is also the great physician. He is the healer. And so that this is the way that you approach it with all of your herbal remedies. Every single one of them, you would go to God first, because it is God who effects healing. He made us. He knows how our body functions, and so He is able to heal to the utmost. Our God is the excellent healer, and we always go to Him to get good healing. Remember the first text I told you is 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 31. Whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever you do all to the glory of God. So it is to the glory of God that you do all of these things. Ensure that all of these things are done so that the healing process can begin to take place in your body. All right. So I hope that, if you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, or if you have any type of inflammation, or if you have any type of blood flow issue in your body, then one of these methods I told you just now can help you. One or more of these methods for high blood pressure, or for diabetes, or for inflammation, or for blood flow in your bodies can help. All right, let us now look at something else. And we still have some more time. Let us look at something else that you can find around the house. You notice that everything that I tell you are things that you can find around the home, around the house, or outside in the yard, that you can use to effect healing. They are quite possibly in your backyard or in your side yard or in your front yard. They can quite possibly be found in these places. Now, I want to tell you about purslane. Some people call it pusley. Purslane or pusley is an excellent healer. Purslane or pusley is an excellent all-round body healer. Pusley have every type of nutrients that your body needs. We call it pusley. You know, it grows at various places in the yard. Once you go to the yard and look, you might find it. All right, pusley. It's an excellent vegetable, and it is extremely good for your body. It has all of the nutrients that you need from a green leafy vegetable. It is excellent. If you combine parsley and merengue and watercress and use all of these things to make a tea to drink, then I would only tell you to drink about a tablespoonful at a time, because it is so potent that it will heal almost anything that is wrong in your body. All right, so you wouldn't need more than a tablespoon or two tablespoons at a time. All right, because it is a healer. These things are can heal you, but you can eat the parsley. I love to eat parsley by itself. I just either eat it raw, or I use it to make smoothie, or I just cook it, steam it, and eat it. It tastes very good. In any way, check it. It tastes good. Whether you're using it as smoothie, whether you are steaming it, or whether you just eat it raw, it is extremely good for your body. It has every type of nutrient that your body needs, and it will help to get rid of many of the illnesses that you have. Now, we call this a wonder herb. Parsley is a wonder herb. It is a miracle herb, and it can be found anywhere in your yard. All right. Let us look at some problems that persons might have. You may have endometriosis, or you may have fibroids. So you have endometriosis, or you have fibroids. Endometriosis or fibroids is the last thing that we are going to be looking at now. Endometriosis or fibroids. Um, Either endometriosis or fibroids, many times these two things are brought about by your diet. By your diet, believe it or not, it is the things that you eat which will cause you to have fibroids or cause you to have endometriosis. The main culprit, I would say the main culprit, is those pesky little chickens that you eat. You know, you love to go to Kentucky, or you love to go to the places that sell those chickens, or you love to buy the chickens and to cook them. It many things, it many times, about 90% of the time, is that the chicken cause it. You know, the chicken, the type of food that they feed those chickens with. Um, our bodies cannot handle it. Our bodies were not made to handle these things. All right. And so our bodies are not able to handle it. And so sometimes when you eat the chicken and you're taking a bath, or you go to the bathroom to urinate, you find that your urinate, when you urinate, it might smell a certain way. Or you're taking a bath and you smell, you find that there's a certain smell, and sometimes it is the chicken smell that you're smelling, and you say, how is it that you eat the chicken? It is because your body cannot digest it properly, because your body don't really know what to do with it. All right. And so once you have endometriosis or fibroids, one of the first things you have to do is that you have to immediately change your diet. Immediately change your diet, because these things, you have to starve them, all right, to prevent them from growing. You have to starve them. All right. So this is similar to how you would treat cancer. You would starve the cancer. And so if you have fibroids or endometriosis, the first thing you do is to cut off the thing from your diet that caused it in the first place. And so you would starve it to death. When you don't give somebody food to eat, you for a period of time in excess of 40 days, you starve them to death. And so you have to starve these things to death when you have them in your body. That's the first thing you have to do. The other thing you have to do is to ensure that you consume the right amount of water on a daily basis. So ensure that you drink water, the right amount of water on a daily basis. And the water that you drink has to be water that is free from any of these pesky herbicide or pesticides or chlorine or fluoride or any of these things. And you can put charcoal in the water just to ensure that the poison in the water come out. I'll tell you something. If you put charcoal in the water and you see the charcoal sink and you try to light that charcoal, it's going to be difficult because it is so full of poisons that it is difficult to light it. All right. So make sure that you don't consume anything that has chlorine, fluoride, and so you have to change your toothpaste too. You have to make sure that you get a more toothpaste that herb toothpaste would be better. All right, and so change your diet. Watch the things that you are putting in your mouth, and ensure that you eat healthy. And so the first, you probably have to go back now to a plant-based lifestyle, and don't worry about getting protein because all of the foods that you eat have proteins, and those green leafy vegetables, every single one of them has a certain amount of protein. And you eat the nuts and grains, all of those things also have proteins. All right. And so don't worry when somebody tell you that you have to eat animals to get protein. Not nagosa. All right. So think of somebody herbivores that you know. The biggest one is an elephant. It does not eat people. It does not eat flesh, and it gets the right amount of protein from just eating plants. A giraffe, any one of those big, strong animals that are herbicides, they eat herbs and they get the right amount of protein. You can also get the right amount of protein in your diet. And so the first thing, change your diet. Get rid of chicken out of your diet. Get rid of flesh out of your diet, and make sure you drink the right amount of water. And the next thing that you're going to do, you're going to be making now a concoction that you can drink in the first instance for 40 days. All right. But when you drink this concoction, you are going to do it in combination with something else because you're going to attack this problem from internally and externally. You're going to attack it internally and externally. All right. So you're going to need to purchase a bottle of castor oil, and the castor oil, you're going to be rubbing it on your pelvic area, and at the same time you are going to be drinking now this concoction that I'm going to be telling you. Now there is a type of lily that is known as oyster lily. It grows wild, and it is almost everywhere in Jamaica. It is purple. The leaves are purple on one side and green on one side. So purple on one side and green on the other side. We call it the oyster lily. All right. Some people call it purple lily, however, but it is green on one. The leaf is green on one side, and it is purple on the other side of the same leaf, green and purple. All right. So that is one. You're also going to use snake plant. You know snake plant? Yes. But you're going to need to find the original snake plant. One of them that does not have the yellow on it and it grows to the maximum height. All right. So you're going to root up the oyster lily. You're going to root up a snake plant. So you need the snake plant with the root and you need the lily with the root as well. You're also going to need some dog blood. Jamaica, we have the dog blood tree. Almost everywhere in Jamaica, you can find the dog blood tree. You're going to need that as well. So you're going to need dog blood. You're going to need oyster lily, and you're going to need the snake plant. And we also have another thing that is a flowers, croton. You know those croton flowers that we have in your yards. Most people use it as fence, and some people plant it as decoration all about the yard. So you're going to need croton as well. You're going to need a good amount of croton leaves, and you're going to wash those properly. Wash them properly, possibly quite possibly in salt water and then in fresh water. All right, wash them salt water and then in the fresh water, and then you're going to cut them up, not as fine as you would cut up callaloo, but you're going to cut them up, put them in a pot. Yeah, all of them, the dog blood, the the oyster lily, the snake plant, and the croton. And you're going to, but when you're handling all of these, I should tell you, put on a gloves because they are going to scratch. They are very scratchy. They're going to scratch it a lot. All right. Put on a gloves and cut them up. Put them in a pot. When you put them in the pot, you boil for 20 minutes. You boil it for 20 minutes. All of them in a pot. Boil it for 20 minutes, and then you're going to let it sit for an entire day. Because what you'd want is that you want all of the nutrients that were in the leaves and in these plants to go into the water. All right. And so you're going to let it sit for an entire day. The next day, you are going to strain it off. All right. You're going to strain it, whether you're going to use, well, in addition to the regular strain, you might have to pass it through a mesh piece of cloth or a regular piece of cloth to make sure that it is strained properly. All right. And so once you get this, once you strain it, then you consume this drink for 30 days straight. Just keep drinking it morning and evening for 30 days. And so if the amount that you did only lasted for 3 or 4 days, then you know you have to get some more for another 3 or 4 days, and you get it for another 3 or 4 days, and you keep doing it, but you have to do it for 30 days. And while you are doing this, you have your castor oil. You buy a bottle of castor oil and you're rubbing your pelvic area as well. All right. So you rub your pelvic area and you are drinking this concoction that I told you. So you're doing two things consecutively, doing it at the same time. It will have maximum effect on your body. All right. You're attacking it from the outside and you're also attacking it from the inside. And before you know what is happening, when you do your next test to see if you have fibroids or endometriosis, you're going to find that they're either shrinking or they have disappeared totally. They are either shrinking, have shrunken, or maybe you can't see them anymore, or they will disappear totally. It is very, very important that you attack it from these two areas, the castor oil and also internally with the concoction I told you to make. This is very, very important if you want it to be done properly. All right. Whether it is fibroids or endometriosis, you find that these things, fibroids, endometriosis, are very uncomfortable and they block your tubes. You're not able, sometimes you feel excruciating pains because sometimes they rest upon a nerve ending. They grow and they are on a nerve, and sometimes it causes pain to take place in your pelvic area, and it causes your period pains to be also excruciating and your period to come heavily. And so you want to do this. You want to do this to alleviate all of these problems that you have. Now, of course, your doctor will also tell you that you can do surgery. The sad thing about it, though, the very, very sad thing about it is that once you do surgery, it more than likely will come back because it always most certainly grows back. Always grow back. But when you attack it the way that I'm telling you now, with the castor oils and with the concoction of herbs that I just told you, that I just gave you, oyster lily, snake plant, croton, and dog blood. Once you combine these four things and you make the concoction, you drink it and you rub it. So while you drink it and then you rub it, you rub the area at the same time, you find that before long it will be shrunken. So this is good for tumors. All right. So you have tumors that are fibroids, or endometriosis. Or this same thing is also good for cysts, because sometimes women have cysts, and the same thing is exceptionally good for cysts. Um, women have many type of illnesses that comes their way sometimes, and we have to sympathize and empathize and ensure that we provide as much care and help as possible, because we want the problems to be, alleviated, because it was not God's intention for any of his creatures to have any one of these pain, these problems. But we have them because many times the things that we choose to eat, the things that goes into our mouth, we are not able to control them, and we don't do such a good job in following the principles that God has given to us for healthful living. What we have done this evening is that we have given you some remedies of some things that you can find at home, some things you can find in your backyard, your side yard, or your front yard. All right, so all of these things can be found in your yard, in your house, all many different places on the outside, and these provide you with a type of relief that is, man, excellent, excellent, because what you're doing is that you are curing the diseases. There's some people will tell you that it cannot cure them, you can only bring them under control, but all of these things that I have told you this evening are for curing the disease. God wants you to live in a disease-free body. And so God has given us the remedy that we follow. First of all, we go back to God's original diet that he gave to us. And this diet can be found in Genesis 1 and verse 29. And it consists of nuts, herbs, it consists of fruits, nuts, and grains. And then in Genesis 3 and verse 18, God added vegetables or the herbs of the field to our diet, because, we are eating certain things, so we will get sick as a result of eating things, or the atmosphere will get sick. And so God gave us the herbs of the field, vegetables, so that we can heal ourselves, cure ourselves. Nowhere in the book of Genesis does God tell us to go to a physician to get any type of healing, because he himself has provided the healing for our own bodies. And so we invite you to look to Jesus Christ. Look to him, because he is the one that can bring us back to where we were before we were sick. And also, it is not only to be sick physically that he can bring us back. He can also bring us back if we are sick spiritually. Spiritual illness is when all of us need God in our lives. You notice that as much as the herbs work well, I told you that in order for you to do it and it work even better is to offer a word of prayer and to thank God for the fact that he has given you this herb to use, and you ask him to please assist you in healing your body. No, you can also ask God for assistance to heal you spiritually as well. For God heals you. When God heals, he heals you mentally, spiritually, and physically. That is the type of healing that God offers. And I don't know anybody who would not want to be healed both spiritually, mentally, and physically. There is a word that many of us throw around that sometimes when you know the meaning of this word, then you find that you appreciate God some more. The word that we throw around sometimes is called salvation. Salvation. Now, salvation has as its root word salvific. Salvific. Salvific means healing. Can you imagine? The word salvation means healing. Healing, which comes from the root salvific, means healing. And so, what God is offering to you is healing spiritually, mentally, and physically. For this program this afternoon, I'm inviting you to come back to Jesus Christ. Now, if you are still with him and you didn't leave, I'm going to ask that you strengthen your relationship with him, that you study some more to show yourself approved unto God so that you can know him more. Because God has revealed himself to us through his words, his Bible. And once you read the Bible, you begin to know what God is like. And once you know what God is like, you will know how to worship, the type of worship that you can give to this magnificent creator that we have. Imagine in the book of Genesis, God made man, and there have been no improvement on what God made in the beginning. It is the same type of body that we have. The only difference is that this body is riddled with sin, and God wants to get rid of the sin that we have in it. And so he has given us his words, and he has even given us a type of a message for these last days that we can, read it, understand it, so that we can develop a right type of relationship with him. This message is found in Revelation chapter 14, verse 6 to 12. The Bible says, and I saw the first angel. There are three angels who are giving these messages. Now, angels in prophetic language represents messengers. And so these messengers are giving these message to the people, and they are giving it with urgency because they find that a number of persons need salvation. They are sick. They need healing. And so the first one says, verse 6, Revelation 14, verse 6, and I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth. And the verse 7 says, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, the sea, and the fountains of waters. What a mighty and marvelous God this is. First of all, God is offering to us everlasting God is offering to us salvation. God is offering to us salvation, and it is the everlasting gospel that he wants to give to us. It is the same gospel that was preached to Adam and Eve. It is the same gospel that all of those persons in the Bible, those prophets in the Bible, Elijah, Moses, and all of them, Nehemiah, Jeremiah, Isaiah, the same gospel, Daniel, that all of them preach. The Bible calls it the everlasting gospel. And in these last days, it is supposed to be preached to all of us who dwell on the earth. And the Bible says to every nation and kindred and tongue and people is supposed to be preached to. And when we understand this, then we are going to be making lifestyle changes, changes that are visible, changes that affect the way we behave, the way we respond, the way that we talk to people. And these are all things that are good because it is leading us to a better lifestyle. And so, with so many things happening in our world, so many things that can attract our attention. This AI business that you hear people talking about, and you hear people talking about, they want to put chips in our bodies and intrusion in our bodies and all kind of thing. The only thing I can say to you is to remain steadfast. All of these political problems you hear, all of these things happening in Jamaica, all of these things happening in the United States, these wars and rumors of war taking place all over the world. God says, don't worry, I'm offering to you, I'm giving to you the gospel. I want you to be healed of any kind of illness, whether it is physical, whether it is spiritual, or whether it is mental, so that when all of these things are happening, you can remain at peace with me, because you would know that God saves and he wants to save you. And so he gives you his word where you can discover more about him on a daily basis to offer him the type of service that he so much requires. I thank God that I was able to share this information with you this evening. And I pray and hope that you will utilize it to the best of your ability to ensure that you are not only healthy, but you are also right with God spiritually. Thank you so very much for those of you who have joined us on the radio and those who have joined us on the internet. I thank you so very much. And again, I want to give a shout out to the Blessed Old family. It was a marvelous fasting and prayer session that you had today. I was privileged to be a part of and to have received such information that we can now go out rejoicing, empowered with Jesus Christ as our living Redeemer. Thank you so very much, Blessed Hope. And thank you, listeners, for joining. And thank you so very much. Let us bow our heads as we pray. Our Father which art in heaven, we thank you for your blessings. We thank you for all the things that you continue to do for us. We pray that somebody would have heard something this evening that would have caused them to take a second look at you and at the remedies that you are offering for salvation, and something that is happening to their bodies. They would know, understand what it is, and know how they can apply simple remedies and receive excellent cures. Thank you, dear God, for this opportunity, and we pray that you will bless our listeners, those who are on the radio and on the internet. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Through Jesus Christ, our Lord, we pray. Amen. Amen. Thank you. It's goodbye for now. Until next week, same time, same place, where we will do this again. Thank you so very much. Thank you for joining us today in our program. Thank you. I am the God that healeth thee.
I am the God